Hi, so today I'm going to talk about my favorite S&P thing from this semester so far. So the topic I chose was behavioral responses, and here is just an example. I want you guys to look at the photo. So basically what it's showing is the perception, the recognition, and then the action you take. So these are all the steps in a behavioral response happening. So this person sees a tree, then they decide that it's an oak tree, and then they decide to move forward and go have a closer look because their body is responding to what they're seeing. So what is a behavioral response? It is an observable action or reaction of something to a stimulus that can become triggered by various factors. What it actually means, though, it is basically how someone behaves in a response to an event that's happening around them. So I have some examples further on in my presentation that I'll show you, but it's basically something that like triggers something in your head that makes you react a certain way, whether it can be good or bad. So the reactions triggered can be voluntary or involuntary. So the reason I chose this topic, and it's my favorite topic from this semester, is I relate very much to this topic. I have a lot of instances where I do get behavioral responses and I'm alert or something has happened. So the image on the screen I chose is just an image of the outdoor in the dark. I obviously am a student that goes to the University of Cincinnati, and so I live in the area. I like to wake up early every day, go on walks, and go to the gym. And so since the area can be pretty dangerous, and obviously I'm a young woman, I have to be very alert and cautious of my surroundings. So in these moments, my body and my brain will react in certain ways and cause a behavioral response to the stimulus, which is the dark outside. So some things like just being more aware, looking around, avoiding certain paths that I know might be dangerous and cause me to get into trouble, walking faster. I might notice some heavier breathing. I might even start running because it triggers in my brain. If I turn around and I feel unsafe, it causes me to want to just get to the point where I'm going to. I also might hold a safety device or have mace in my hand just in case anything happens. So why does this reaction necessarily occur? So the reaction of a behavioral response occurs because your brain is reacting to something uncertain. So it's almost like a safety effect to have you react in a way that can correct something or save you from getting into a bad situation. It looks like the words over here got cut off a little bit, but that was supposed to say to achieve a goal. So it can be positive. Also, it can help you adapt to the environment around you, and then automatic responses from the nervous system can also happen with this behavioral response. So those automatic responses cause the behavioral response. So here's a good example, a baby touching a hot stove. So basically the baby will walk up, touch the stove, and then that response will automatically cause them to reflex and react in a way that they might cry. It will obviously hurt them very much. So that stimulus of the hot stove will cause them to react. What part of the brain triggers a behavioral response? So here are a couple parts of the brain that I'm going to list off what they do. So the amygdala, I think that's how you say it, amygdala, senses things, deciding the safety and importance of the environment. The hypothalamus reacts and stimulates the body to be prepared. The prefrontal cortex chooses and assesses the next plan of action, and the basal ganglia repeats, knowing the situation is familiar. So are behavioral responses automatic, learned, or both? So many responses become learned through your experiences. So like I said, my example with being outside, I've learned that I will have a response to when I step outside in the dark. So now I plan ahead, carry a safety device, try to get there faster, rewards and punishments, etc. There's also many automatic behavioral responses, such as reflexes and reactions caused from fear. So the example I just showed you of a baby touching a hot stove, that would be automatic, and it causes them to react even if they didn't expect that to come immediately. Here's also another example of why I like this concept in S&P. So this is someone catching a lacrosse ball. I played lacrosse for 4 years of my life, and I was always one that was very skittish when the ball was coming my way, and I would freak out and sometimes back away, and I would have a response to the ball coming towards me. So in this situation, when you might not know which way the ball is going to go, it could go ahead of you, could hit you in the face. So that causes a reaction in your brain, and you either immediately act and catch it, or you might move out of the way. So overall, a behavioral response is a reaction to a stimulus. Your brain is reacting to uncertainty. Many parts of the brain can trigger these, like I said, and they can also be good or dangerous. So that is a wrap up of what my favorite S&P thing was from this semester.